realistic there was somebody up there.
From like a bag of nuts and just shove it up there on top of the pole.
Yeah, give it a bit of
Yeah.
The first video tonight comes from Small Plots, a Canada-based outdoor adventure channel focused on urban stealth camping and micro-adventure exploration inside forgotten industrial and suburban spaces. It is April 29th, 2026 in a suburban fringe/brownfield site, Canada. Kevin returns to the very first location he considered earlier in the evening, a small wooded section beside a suburban cul-de-sac. That immediately changes the type of risk involved, not wilderness isolation, but visibility. As he re-enters the neighborhood, attention becomes the main pressure point. Residents watch from nearby houses and passing vehicles, while he attempts to move casually near the tree line without drawing suspicion. The environment feels exposed, despite the overgrowth.
Film around it, but everywhere I go there are just eyeballs on me, like just straight up, and right here is no different. I pulled in and somebody was pulling out of their driveway and just stopped and like stared at me. Roll up in here and they're still sitting there in their driveway. I think I'm just gonna say like, okay, let's go. Okay, just gonna go, just go.
Further inside the overgrown plot, the environment changes again. He discovers remnants of older activity buried beneath the vegetation, an abandoned basketball court, layers of rusted barbed wire fencing, and old debris scattered throughout the area. The deeper he moves, the less the location feels connected to the surrounding suburb. Instead, it begins resembling a forgotten industrial pocket left behind between active neighborhoods.
Oh, it's a deer. Whew. So my uneducated guess on what that thing is, a power transformer with an antenna to, you know, send data. Is it working? Is it not working? What's going on with it? That kind of thing. I don't know what else that would be. Also, weird note, right now where my tripod is on, like a tiled ground, looks like it was a kitchen or something at one point. Very strange. All right, so I'm following this little trail here. And I'm glad I did, because yeah, this just leads straight up into somebody's backyard. I'm like really glad I decided to come check this out. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't want to get too much closer. That's just somebody's backyard right there. Okay, so that's good to know that they have like a little highway back. Looks like a turkey met its untimely.
After settling beside a large rusted drainage pipe, another unexplained metallic sound echoes from the railway corridor nearby. The reminder of active infrastructure changes the atmosphere again. The campsite isn't isolated. It's wedged between residential life and industrial movement.
Oh, is it over at the golf course? It's really hard to tell. It sounds like it's coming from all around. Just heard loud music, like really close, and then it kind of stopped. And then I heard voices. well, keep an eye and an ear on that. So I don't want to leave the fire going without me there for too long, but I did hear some shouting and voices nearby. I don't know where it is. There's just sticks in my clothes. It sounded like it was out in this field, but it could be anywhere. I'm sure. I don't want to be giving myself away here. Yeah, I can't see that fire at all. I'm not that far. I'm like 20 feet away. All right, well, we know that we're in a suburban neighborhood. We know that people come back here. And we know we just gotta stay chill and we'll be all right.
Later inside the tent, smaller sounds become amplified by the silence. Scratching against gear is followed by heavier footsteps, moving through dry leaves outside the shelter. Nothing is seen, but at that stage, uncertainty becomes enough on its own, because the entire night has already been shaped by the possibility of being discovered. This one is driven by exposure rather than isolation, observation, concealment, then constant awareness of nearby people and movement. Nothing directly confronts him. But the tension never fully drops because the campsite exists inside a space that feels simultaneously hidden and surrounded. By the end, the experience becomes less about wilderness survival and more about psychological pressure from trying to disappear inside an environment where somebody could notice you at any moment. Before we move on, if you're enjoying the video so far, leaving a like really helps. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. We recently passed 50,000 subscribers, and that's entirely because of you. The next target is 100,000 before the end of the year. Ambitious, but worth aiming for. There's a hidden word somewhere in this video. See if you can spot it. Now, let's continue. The next horrifying video comes from Happy Hippie Wild Living, a UK-based wild camping and adventure channel focused on immersive overnight stays in unusual outdoor locations, abandoned structures, and exposed wilderness environments. It is April 10th, 2026 at the Corpatch Shipwreck, Scotland, United Kingdom. The overnight begins inside the wreck itself. As they move through the abandoned ship, the condition of the structure becomes obvious immediately. Missing floor sections, exposed gaps, and unstable footing throughout the interior. Despite that, they continue setting up hammocks inside the tilted frame of the wreck. That's the key detail early on. The environment isn't naturally hostile. The structure itself is.
We're gonna have a little crispy seaweed. Want some seaweed, mate?
I'm alright.
Does not look appetizing.
Maybe later.
I'm pretty sure most seaweed is edible anyway, so you should be alright if you find some out. Mmm. You know what it tastes like? Green beans.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds alright.
Really good.
While moving around the shipwreck, the instability becomes more apparent. A phone slips and drops from the structure onto the beach below. That moment reinforces how little margin for error exists inside the wreck. The slanted surfaces and open edges turn even simple movement into something that requires constant awareness.
Yeah, and it's on a tilt as well. You should have seen us walking earlier.
Remember it's slippy?
Yep, and I've got to go up another level after this. All aboard. There he is, getting into his bedroom. Oh, that looks cozy in there.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, God.
As darkness approaches, they climb back aboard the ship. Movement slows noticeably while crossing the tilted decks. Wet surfaces, uneven angles, and limited light change the atmosphere from exploration to careful navigation.
Hang on, stairway to heaven. Top of the ship. Here's my boudoir for the night. Oh my God, that is beautiful. It's amazing. This is awesome. What a view. No, thank you. I don't want to fall down there. I don't fancy a dip this evening.
You wouldn't even be that would it?
I guess it's time to get in this beautiful hammock. Just climb on in the window to my bedroom.
They continue higher into the wreck, reaching the upper sections through narrow, exposed walkways. The higher levels feel significantly more unstable, with visible drop-offs surrounding the sleeping area. At that stage, the overnight becomes defined less by camping itself and more by adapting to the structure around them. This one is driven entirely by environment and positioning. Tilted surfaces, weather exposure, then height and instability layered over both. Nothing paranormal or unexplained happens throughout the stay. The tension comes from spending the night inside a structure that constantly reminds you it was never meant to be lived in again. By morning, the weather clears and the atmosphere changes completely. The next chilling video comes from Camp Life Bushcraft, a UK-based wild camping and bushcraft channel focused on lightweight hiking setups, overnight woodland camps, and practical gear testing during short outdoor micro-adventures. It is July 31st, 2021, in a public access woodland, United Kingdom. The trip begins late in the evening. After crossing open fields, the two campers move into public woodland, searching for a hidden place to set up before darkness fully settles. The goal is practical rather than extreme, testing lightweight gear ahead of a future long-distance hike. But as they move deeper into the forest, the environment changes noticeably. Paths narrow, vegetation thickens, and visibility drops quickly beneath the tree cover. That shift matters, because once daylight starts fading, the woodland becomes difficult to read beyond a few meters ahead.
Let's have a bit of this. Right, where are you?
I'm just getting all the big sort of twigs off the ground so it doesn't punch at the bottom of the tent.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of familiarising myself with the terrain.
We were just saying this is quite a spooky woodland.
Quite spooky as F, mate. I'm a bit spooked out.
Are you really?
Yeah, it's well, the owls were hooting and there's like weird sort of what's that predator noise coming through the woods?
Woodpeckers.
Like
Predator noise. This is a bit of a spooky woodland, but it's good. I think it's very overgrown, very enclosed. We just found a little opening. I mean, I scoped this place out a few weeks back and it was quite open and quite pleasant, but now we're in here and it's sort of summer and it's grown right.
Darkness fully settles over the campsite. They continue organizing gear, preparing food, and testing the sleep setup while the woodland remains almost completely visually closed off around them. That becomes the defining feature of the night. Limited visibility combined with constant ambient sound.
It's just, it's close, it's imposing. It's just surrounded by thick foliage in all directions, which is nice. It's kind of what I wanted, but at the same time, I mean, it's still light outside. You can see the sky just about through there. It's not dark yet, but yeah. Spooky, man. Right.
The following morning introduces the only real disruption. After stepping away from camp briefly, one of the campers becomes momentarily disoriented while returning through the thick vegetation. Without visible landmarks, direction becomes difficult to judge until the tents are spotted again through the trees.
We downed tools and packed our gear away because the tents are reasonably dry at the moment. So I'm going to leave it there, I think. To be honest, it's I'm done. I'm done with the filming for now. We're going to walk back in a minute. I'm just going to tidy this area up behind me, like what he's doing. Can you see him there? Can you see him raking? Leave no trace is the mantra. So yeah, I've got my little patch of ground to sort out, a couple of bits to put away, aeroplane to ignore, and then we're off. Rob, it was lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you, buddy.
You're in, yep. And,
See
yeah.
you, mate.
Thank you to Wild Camper. Check out Wild Camper on YouTube, link in the description.
Oh, good man.
He never does it for me.
No.
No, I
I'll
don't.
do.
You go, I'm out with me mate. That's it, doesn't say anything. Nothing about my channel. No help plugging
I
in.
don't want to lose any more subscribers to you, do I?
But yes, it was good to be out with Rob again. So thank you very much for watching. Thumbs up would be appreciated. All that sort of thing.
Yeah. I'm very glad you don't put that stupid bell in that when you go, oh Roger, like, subscribe, ding, and you think, why do people do that?
As they begin packing down camp, rain suddenly moves in. The relaxed pace shifts immediately into urgency, while they protect gear and dismantle the setup before conditions worsen. This one is built around atmosphere rather than escalation. Dense terrain, limited visibility, then isolation amplified by darkness and sound. Nothing paranormal or threatening actually occurs. But the woodland itself creates constant low-level tension simply through how enclosed it feels after dark. The next shocking video of the night comes from Jeremy Higgins, an outdoor adventure and survival filmmaker focused on high-risk solo camping challenges, wilderness survival, and immersive backcountry expeditions filmed in real time. It is April 22nd, 2026 in a remote mountainous forest, California, United States.
I build a shelter. I finally build one that might be worth sleeping in. I plan on hiking to a waterfall for sunrise, but I can't even get on the trail before it all goes horribly wrong. Let's start from the beginning. We got about a 45-minute drive to where we camp. Getting some gas, getting some groceries, and we'll be heading to the mountain soon. I mean, we're in the town. We're right there. There's a winter storm advisory, so this will be interesting.
The challenge begins under pressure immediately. A winter storm advisory is already active as Jeremy arrives at the trailhead with intentionally limited equipment, no tent, no lighter, and minimal supplies. The objective is survival through exposure and improvisation rather than comfort. As he hikes deeper into the mountains, road crews working near the lower trails become the final visible connection to civilization before the terrain fully isolates him. That matters because once the weather closes in, retreat becomes significantly harder.
Actually, did not get to work. I opted to try to build another shelter because I started feeling way too sick to build the rest of that one. So I tried to find an easier one. That didn't work out. So then I went with another one, which is the one I stuck with. Try number 3 on the camping spot.
A brief recovery point follows when he successfully starts a fire using flint and steel. In damp conditions and while already exhausted, the fire becomes critical rather than symbolic. Heat and drying capability now directly affect whether the overnight remains manageable.
Guacamole! Kind of scary not having both my hands. Oh, gotta use one of them for filming. Ah! Ah! We almost died. All good though. Ah!
As darkness arrives, the shelter system begins failing under conditions. The ground remains wet, temperatures continue dropping, and illness worsens. Eventually, he abandons the debris shelter entirely and retreats into the Jeep for survival, rather than continuing the challenge outdoors. That's the breaking point of the trip. The moment endurance gives way to safety.
Really hard. It was super duper windy and super loud. I laid there for hours trying to fall asleep. I couldn't fall asleep, and I should have taken some shots of me struggling through the night, you know, the rain and stuff, but I was just trying to sleep, and then I was kind of just not thinking about recording, so it was a long night. I woke up around 4, and that's where we pick up.
Morning. A little bit wet last night. It's a little wet right now. Yeah. Let's try to get up. And the snow's like really heavy. It's not even snow. It's just water, basically. I mean, that's what snow is, but we're gonna get out of this crap. We're in the Jeep now. We're gonna warm up a little bit. I need to pick up camp.
By early morning, the conditions have fully collapsed into freezing slush and heavy rain. Jeremy emerges visibly drained, soaked, and physically exhausted. At that point, the decision is made to end the trip rather than continue deeper into the mountains. This one is defined by deterioration. Minimal gear, then illness, then environmental pressure layered over both. Nothing paranormal or unexplained happens. The tension comes entirely from watching control gradually disappear as weather and physical exhaustion overtake the original plan. By the end, the challenge stops being about proving endurance and becomes about recognizing the point where survival takes priority over completing the objective. The next video comes from Graham's Wild Camping, a UK-based wild camping and bushcraft channel focused on practical woodland camping, tarp shelters, fire cooking, and real overnight experiences in remote outdoor environments. It is January 12, 2024, in a remote woodland, northeast England, United Kingdom. The trip begins with Graham navigating into a hidden woodland camp after being invited by Fell Wanderer. The forest is immediately presented as difficult terrain. Dense trees, fallen timber, and narrow access routes slowing movement through the area. That matters because the location isn't naturally accessible. The deeper he moves into the woods, the more isolated the environment becomes.
And the way I've come in, the directions I had, honestly, I can't believe anybody would ever find this camp. It was so difficult, full of downed trees and scrambling up and over and squeezing through gaps. So it's a pretty...
As daylight begins fading, attention shifts toward time pressure. The forest becomes harder to navigate as visibility drops, and suitable ground for camp setup becomes more limited. At this stage, the priority changes from exploration to establishing shelter before darkness fully settles in.
I think I'll be cosy once I'm in my sleeping bag, but sitting around that fire cracking on with the lads, me hands and feet are getting really cold, but Adrian's given us these chemical hand warmers, so it's about 7:30 now, so apparently they last about 8-10 hours.
Preparing for sleep becomes physically uncomfortable as the cold intensifies through the night. The woodland remains quiet and still, with the challenge now centered entirely around exposure to freezing conditions rather than the environment itself. This one is driven by isolation and winter exposure rather than escalation. Difficult access, then fading daylight, then freezing overnight conditions. Nothing dramatic happens, but the environment steadily applies pressure throughout the camp. By morning, the trip is framed less as an adventure and more as a reminder of how demanding even a simple woodland overnight can become once temperature and terrain start working against you. Before we get into the next clip, around 70% of people watching aren't subscribed. We're working toward 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you're enjoying the video, hitting subscribe really does help. All right, let's get back to it. The last video of the night comes from Fell Wanderer, a UK-based solo wild camping channel focused on immersive woodland exploration, stealth camping, and realistic overnight survival experiences in remote forest environments. It is February 18th, 2015, in a remote forest woodland, United Kingdom. The trip begins as he returns to a remote woodland to relocate gear from an older summer camp to a new hidden location, deeper inside the forest. Conditions are damp and misty from the start. The deeper he moves in, the quieter the woodland becomes. Paths begin disappearing behind him, visibility shortens through the trees, and the atmosphere gradually shifts from open countryside to enclosed isolation. He also references a nearby water source and an earlier alleged footprint discovery connected to the area, adding tension before camp is even established.
There's nothing, is there, apart from the odd sound of a bird. I mean, there's no wind, it's misty, it's cold and it's damp. You know, and I'm on my own, so what could be better than spending the afternoon when there's only a couple hours left before it gets dark in a creepy, spooky forest on my own.
He explains how forestry tracks divide the woodland into large sections. While useful for navigation, they also reinforce the scale of the forest. Long, empty corridors surrounded by dense tree cover.
Look at it, man. How eerie is that? It doesn't take much to freak you out. It's great, you know, when it's like this, it's light, and you can see what you're doing. It's just a different story once the sun goes down. And I'll just show you where my camp is, or where I will be camping.
Reaching a nearby stream, he begins discussing water filtration and survival considerations. The water appears heavily discolored from woodland runoff, forcing him to rely on a portable filter system before using it at camp.
Wool pad soaked in wax as a backup. Got some dry lint, jute twine, chalk-cloth, and I've got my new flint striker. And I've got a bit of rubber candle and a lighter just in case. As a backup, you always have more than one way of lighting a fire. And this is my favourite method for starting a fire at the minute.
The fire finally stabilizes using wet woodland timber and additional tinder. The camp starts functioning properly for the first time, with cooking and warmth now established despite the damp environment.
Bit of a gravity-fed system. Take that off. And a little bit of the dirty water has gone down. You've got to be so careful not for the dirty water to touch the clean end. But it's just to try it out really the day. I've got lots of water with me. I don't even need to drink this water. But I will for the sake of the video. So what I'll do is, I'll take that cap off and I'll see what it's like. See how it filters through. Whether it runs a bit clearer or stays the same.
Cooking begins over the fire, while the surrounding forest remains quiet and still. Conversation briefly turns toward the idea of creatures of the forest, but the tone stays observational rather than dramatic.
Really like being here on my own. But as it's getting dark, I'm getting more anxious. And you know, a lot of it's all in the mind, you know. It's all about, isn't it, the psychology of survival that they talk about. You can have all the skills in the world, but if your mind's not up to it, that could be morbid. I could say we only live once. We're all going to die eventually, and you know, what happens if I die a few years earlier than what I planned on doing or unplanned on doing? Do I want to go a little bit earlier? Do I want to risk dying earlier by coming here?
The most serious moment comes as he discusses the vulnerability of sleeping alone in such a remote environment. With visibility gone and no one nearby, the forest feels significantly different at night than it did earlier in the day. This one is driven almost entirely by atmosphere and isolation. Mist, silence, distance from civilization. Then the psychological pressure of nightfall. Nothing supernatural occurs, and nothing directly threatens the camp. But the environment steadily becomes more oppressive as darkness settles in. By the end, the tension comes less from the forest itself, and more from the mental effect of being completely alone inside it. We appreciate you for watching. If these creepy encounters gave you chills, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next drop. There's always another mystery waiting just around the corner.